All right, Kez, take it away.
Awesome. So we're all good to go. So welcome everyone tonight to week number 5 of the 90-day game plan. It's awesome to see you guys that are on the call, and then hopefully everybody else will be listening via the recording. And Lauren did press record, so we should be good to go. Big congratulations to everybody who's been uploading this You Plus Two, Them Plus Two videos. It's been fantastic listening to everybody's creations, I should say. And it's great that even though sometimes it wasn't perfect, you guys still uploaded them anyway and then called yourselves out on all your imperfections. But it didn't matter because you put it up anyway, and that's the main thing. And it's all about repetition. Our coach used to say repetition is the mother of skill. So doing it over and over and over again and until it just becomes normal, using the language that we love you to use. So that was fantastic. Just a quick comment about some of the tasks that we're giving you each week, and those are to watch some of the videos and then write down 10 people's names that come to mind. One thing that we were talking about today, Lauren and I, was that perhaps some people are perhaps thinking that we want you to send that video link out to those 10 people, and it's not actually what we want you to do, because obviously you need to, stick to what we're used to, and that is creating or connecting with people first, creating rapport, and then obviously creating that trust and asking them if it's okay that you share something with them that they can have a look at, whether it's a video or the tool. So please don't think that we want you to just go and blast those 10 people with the video, because they'll just be going, what is this? And perhaps, obviously not respond or just not even look at it. So it's about basically just thinking of 10 people that come to mind that might have this, and don't forget too that you might just be assuming that they actually are interested in energy and performance or weight loss or whatever it is, the videos that we're looking at. They might just, you might be assuming that that's what they're interested in, but that might not be the solution that they're after. So you can only find that out by obviously questioning them and, creating that connection with them. So I'll get straight into tonight. I'm super excited about tonight. We have a special guest on with us tonight. She's hiding away in one of those little squares. I wonder if everyone can guess who it is. We just blasted her name everywhere across Facebook today anyway, so it's no surprise. But before I introduce Heidi, I'm actually going to introduce Lauren properly, because some of you may know Lauren, but you might not know her background. So Lauren lives on the Northern Beaches here in Sydney, and she's married to Ben and has 2 beautiful boys. And she actually found Isagenix through the product initially, as most of us have, if not all of us. And she was introduced by Heidi, who we're going to hear from shortly, in 2013. It's 2013, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. 2013. She's a smart cookie, because it didn't take her long to realise that there was a great business opportunity behind Isagenix. And at the time, she had a very big why, because she was on the verge of bankruptcy with over $350,000 in debt, which is a pretty massive why to get into some pretty serious action. And that drove her to getting to 5-star Crystal Executive in just 12 months. So she obviously knows a lot about how to create consultants and obviously creating the excitement around the Isagenix products. She hit the Start 1000 and she's won 3 Isoderby trips and 1 Top Achievers trip. So she's certainly been wined and dined by Isagenix because of all the hard work that she's put into the business. And she's been able to pay back her entire debt now and has a team of 10,000 people. So imagine looking into your back office on that left-hand side and seeing how many people are underneath you. Mine says about 1,500 now. Lauren's is 10,000 plus, which is pretty amazing. It just goes to show how many people she's helped. She's super passionate and her energy is contagious. That's what drew her to me when we decided to create this team and collaborate. And she honestly loves helping people and seeing their circumstances change through the awesome vehicle of Isagenix. Her passion is manifestation and using the laws of the universe to excel in business. So that's a whole nother conversation. Woo! So I'll hand it over to Lozzie to introduce Heidi and get stuck into how we can all learn how to create consultants.
Thanks, Kerry, for that introduction. That was awesome. Don't often get the introduction. So it is my absolute pleasure to welcome to this call the yummy mummy of two beautiful girls. She's a former nurse manager of a major hospital, but she's now an Isogenics millionaire. She's a super coach, queen of the schedule. She's a mega legend. And this woman, she just knows what she's talking about when it comes to creating consultants. So I've actually personally seen her back office. I know how many consultants are in there. I know for a fact that she's a consultant creating machine. And all up across both of her centres, I asked her this, she's got 31 active consultants at this very time, all personally enrolled. And that's across, she's got 2 centres, so that's across the 2 centres there. So we tonight could not learn from a better person as to how to create consultants with ease. So thanks, Heidi, for being on the call tonight, and happy Mother's Day for yesterday. Really appreciate you being on, so thank you.
No problems. Nice to be here.
So, all right, so let's get started then. So, why is creating and co-creating consultants really important? And, you know, how much focus should we be placing on this step in particular?
Well, you know, they've done some stats around this, and there's 2 real reasons why you need to create consultants. Number 1 is retention in your business. So, you know, they've run some numbers, and they said that if you get somebody to manager, so you plus 2, them plus 2, past that consultant phase, but you get someone paid, they're going to stick in your business 95% of the time. So, you know, the effort it takes to enroll someone when you've done the 7, 8 follow-ups to coach them through their first 30 days, and then that person doesn't last any longer than that 30 days. You haven't made your PIB back. But if you could keep that person ordering so that every month you're getting, 200 business volume in your business from that person for the rest of your life, that would be a great thing, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the number 1 reason we do it is for retention, but number 2 is that you can't build this business by yourself. There are people that get to 1 star, and you can do it by yourself. You can do it by being an enrolling machine and using your network and basically enrolling a lot of people. But to move past that, you know, within a 12-month period, you won't stay at 1 star, because to stay at 1 star over a 12-month period means you need around 960 people in your organization. Now, chances are you don't know 960 people, or not intimately, and like Kerry was saying, not to have that rapport with them that they will sign up with Isogenics. So basically, yeah, number 1 reason is retention, and number 2 is that you need help to build this business. And so you have to learn to access other people's networks, and the only way to do that is by getting them paid and getting them to consultant or further.
Awesome. Okay, so totally agree with everything you just said then, and it's so important going into other people's networks, and that's where you see the growth, isn't it? And that's where I've seen it, and that's where launch parties come in, and you get to go into other people's networks, and it just spreads like wildfire. It's the coolest.
Yeah.
So how do you go about making consultants? What is your process, and do you follow the same process with everybody, or is there different ways of doing it with different people?
Yeah, I probably don't follow the same process with everybody, and this is sort of where your relationship or your connection really takes over, and it guides you as to where to mention and how to mention the U+2 and in what way or technique do you use. So, you know, I am always talking about getting a rebate. So as soon as, you know, I'm talking to someone, they may have come off Facebook, this is a perfect stranger, you know, I might have met them at a park, they don't know much, but I've got them interested in the products, and they're asking about the costs, and I'm telling them, look, it's $600, but you know what's really great is that you can get a rebate. This is a referral based structure, which basically means you get paid for your referrals. You don't have to do the business. I'm going to help you with that, but if you have 2 friends you know, we could get you 60% off your pack. And I like the sound of that. You know, you make it sound really easy. You say it's just a rebate. You know, everyone loves a rebate. And at that stage, then I just wait. You know, it's just that pause to see how they took that on. You know, and quite often you may get an objection there, like, oh, I don't know enough people, or I just want to concentrate on myself. And you know at that point that objection is based around themselves, their belief in themselves. So your job, like I'm sitting there writing on their enrollment form here, belief. So I know over the next 30 days I need to build their belief that they can do this. Other people are straight in going, yeah, how do I do that? And it's like, okay. And taking them to that next phase, it's like, all right, this is how we're going to do it. You haven't even put the product in your mouth yet, so I'm obviously going to have to do the talking for you. So write down a list of 10 people. You know, out of that 10 people, what are the top 3 people you really want to have on board with you? We're going to do 3-way calls with those people. But first of all, I need you to talk to them about isogenics. I need you to tell them what you're doing, that you're doing a cleansing program, that you're wanting to lose weight, you know, that you're wanting to build lean muscle, that you've seen fabulous results. So I'm getting them to have those conversations with their network. Now, their network know, like, and trust them. Okay, so it's very different going into someone with a cold call. You would never do that, right? Or cold contact. But because they know, like, and trust them, they can go straight in. And so I'm teaching them to have those conversations and what to say and what not to say. Because what not to say, I think, is the most important thing. It's like, just keep it brief, keep it light. Tell them you don't know what you're doing, but get them on the phone with me. I teach them then that we could do a launch party. And again, I'm not saying, look, we're going to do a launch party for you next Wednesday. Go and invite 10 friends. I'm saying, where's that list of 10 people? This is how we're going to invite them. This is the wording I want you to use. This is the invitation I want you to set up. These are the phone calls we're going to have before the event. So it's not just about giving people direction. It's about holding their hand and getting them across the line. So you know, the people that have objected to me at the beginning, they're not really sure that you know, they want to get their own results, or, you know, they're not interested in the business. Then those are the people that I'm really, every call or every week, I'm touching base with them again to see where their belief structure is. You know, day 11, when they're weighing themselves, I'm going, wow, like, you know, this is amazing. Are people noticing? And I'm dropping little hints like that. With the new associate checklist, I actually have broken it up. So instead of doing that whole form at once, I do the first 7 days, and then I do a week. So week 2, week 3, week 4. And in those weeks, we delve deeper into the business, and it goes deeper into how that they can get their products paid for. And week 3, my aim for everyone is that they're having a launch party or on a webinar. So my goal is pretty much to get every single person that I bring on board to consultant. And since I set that goal for myself, I've had 100% of people convert. I currently do have 31 active consultants in both centres, 7 in my new, and whatever that works out in the other one. I'm no good at maths. You know, but I've made over 75 consultants. So they don't all stick. And I think that goes back to my retention point, that you need to get them to manager. So there are a lot of people that just make consultants to get that initial rebate, but it's then how do you flick them in? How do you build their belief during that period where they're getting paid, they're getting great results, to keep accessing that network? And I think that really comes down to the level of support that you give as a coach. And, you know, I did a post today about, you know, we do our 3x3x3 matrix, where that last column is that we're pouring love into our team. And for those of you who know me, I'm not a real hugger, I'm not a real cuddler, but, you know, the pouring the love into is getting people paid. You know, how are you, so their goals, so say, you know, I spoke to Matt Potts today, and his goal this week is to get to manager. So my goal is to get him to manager, and how I'm going to do that. So, you know, we've got 3-way calls lined up. He's got a launch party booked. And so my goal is to help him get bums on seat, help him hit this launch party, help him get to manager. And that's the same with consultants. It's like, what is your process? And it's going to be different with everyone. You know, there's people you can't do a launch party with because they're in New Zealand, but who can you leverage in your team, or what technology can you leverage like we're on now, where you can access them, hold their hand and show massive support to get them over the line? Because most reason why people will go to consultant is because they believe in the products and they actually believe in themselves, but they haven't got much belief at that stage. So, you know, my process, to answer your question, it isn't the same for everyone, except that I follow that new associate checklist, and we talk about U+2 every single week in their first 30 days up to their second month. And I'm always talking about that rebate when they're enrolling. There's not one person that I enroll that I haven't shared that rebate with, because in my eyes, it's like taking money out of their wallet. They've got 30 days to get that additional $250 Crystal bonus to get to Crystal Manager. And so if I haven't shared that with them, it's like me going to their wallet and taking $250 out. It's stealing from them. So it's your obligation, absolutely, to share that with them, whatever process that you use. But in Australia, I believe that the very laid back, using that terminology of rebate, or you know, getting your pack nearly half price or something like that, works better than sort of getting them to draw out U+2, because when you draw out U+2, it does look like a pyramid, and there's a lot of objections out there about a pyramid. So just finding 2 friends to do it with, just to get an initial rebate. And then the idea is, like, when those friends sign on, hey, you know, Mary Sue got a rebate for helping you. How about we get you a rebate too? And so you're creating Mary Sue to a manager, and she doesn't even know it yet. She doesn't even know what manager is.
Awesome. Awesome. So I like that. That was one of my next questions, about, you know, every time that you speak to someone, you obviously, and what I'm hearing is you will not tell them about that rebate. So that's the first thing. And I think that's such an important step. But then you're consistently talking to them throughout the month or throughout the 2 months. Every time you talk to them, you're reiterating about the rebate U+2, which is so awesome. Okay. And so why, first of all, what happens in your head when you're offering the rebate? So how do you feel about it? I guess you just answered that as well with that you feel like.
How do I feel about it?
What's your posture behind it?
I feel really pissed off if they don't take it. Like, who wants to pay full price? Like, it annoys me, and so I make it my job to get them those 2 people. You know, I make it my job, my task, to be able to help them get that initial rebate. So when they don't take it, I get extremely frustrated. I guess that's the space I'm in at that time. It's like, why wouldn't you take this rebate? And there's something with your belief. So my job is to build that person's belief so they want to share Isogenics from the rooftop.
I think that's really cool. I think because there's probably a lot of people on the call now that feel a little bit funny about offering the rebate, and so I was just trying to get in your head to see what kind of space and what posture you're coming from. And so really it's just a perception of how you see it. So if everyone can just flip their perception, and you know, you're doing them a disservice if you don't offer it.
Yeah, you're ripping them off.
Totally, I agree. But yeah, it's a really simple thing if you just flick that switch and come from that place. You know, because I know a lot of people.
If you're not confident there, Loz, like, get you on the phone, or get me on the phone, or get someone on a 3-way call that is confident doing it, so they can do it for you. And you'll see how easy it is and how receptive they are to the rebate. And, you know, after 3 or 4 times of doing that, it'll be just a natural thing for you to do.
Yeah. And, you know, it's funny because you enrolled me, you're my coach, and I remember back in the day, you sent me a message. I messaged you by text and said, my mum wants to do it with me. I had no idea about how anything worked. And you simply sent a text back saying, find one more person and you get $380 back or $370 back. I didn't know that I could get a rebate just for one. And then I was like, right, who can I find? And I got Dad to do it to get the rebate. So it was so simple, you know. It wasn't like U+2, this is how it works. And even though we really need to know that, because that's the foundation of our business, I think we can overcomplicate it sometimes. It's really that easy, just 370. Woohoo, I'm going.
Yeah, I remember that text. I was in a play centre. I couldn't call you. I was like just texting.
I know, but it worked, see? But it worked. And then I saw, like you say, when you get people paid, there's retention. I didn't know if it was real. And then I saw the money come into my account the following week and I thought, wow, this is actually a real company. There is an opportunity here. And that piqued my interest. So, and that was very early on. And imagine if you do that with everybody. And that's why you've been so successful in creating so many. So that's really cool. And we just had a little question from Keza saying, what do you do to help build that belief? Because you keep saying that they're lacking in belief. So what steps would you take to build their belief?
So there's, the 5 areas of belief. So it's the comp plan, the company, the themselves, the products, and network marketing. So there's these 5 levels, the 5 areas of belief. And so your job is to pretty much identify which one is lacking. And it really starts with them first. I don't know if I can do it, and the way that you find that is by asking questions. So, just ask lots of questions, build that relationship deeper, find that common ground, use feel, felt, found. I felt exactly the same way when I started, but what I found is, exactly, come down onto their level. So different things for building belief. I mean, number one thing, and we hear it all the time, is events. And it doesn't mean that you have to bring them to a celebration and they need to be freaked out hiding under a chair, like if they've got no belief, don't bring them to celebration yet. But get them on a 3-way call, get them to a launch party, get them in a meeting with Loz, just one of these meetings. Like, start building belief in just simply the culture. Start showing up on the Facebook group as a leader, if it's the products, then sometimes it just takes a couple of weeks for them to build that belief that these products work. Without taking them, that's not going to work. They're not going to believe in the products. But getting them to take it properly, getting them to adapt the program if they're having issues with it, getting them in touch with someone who can do that if you're not experienced in doing that, getting them to hear stories. So getting them on, I do weekly cleanse calls or, these webinars, like getting them to hear stories over and over again about how the products work. I mean, the company, just a random post on your Facebook page about the company, or we have Isogenics podcasts, just type in company or Isogenics Health. I mean, there's so many resources out there. Your job as a coach is to find out in what areas are they lacking, and then write a little ISA prescription.
And another good example of that, I just keep coming back to my experience and my story with you, was, I can't remember, it might have been 2 weeks in or 3 weeks in, you said, hey, why don't you come around to my house? Well, first of all, actually, I'll go a step backwards. So when I had my first person to enroll, Heidi invited me around to her house and we sat down in front of the computer together and she let me physically enroll the person, so that I could see her back office for one. So I could see, because it was in her office, so I was seeing her cycles, all of her stuff. And so that was giving me belief then as well, but it was also showing me how to do it, so enabling me. Not enabling, what's the other one? Setting me up for success, basically, from the very start. And then the next part of it was you invited me. So that's 2 points of contact. The next one was you said, come around to my house on a Tuesday night. We're having a business training. And so I came around in my Ugg boots and it was cold, chilly night. And I came around and there was all these women sitting there. I couldn't believe it. And they didn't have 2 heads, because as far as I was concerned, anyone that did network marketing was, a bit weird. And so when I got there, I was like, oh, these ladies are really nice. Again, social proof. There's other people doing this. And that really helped build my belief. And then I went to another event with Susan Sly, which just, sealed the deal for me. But I think, you know what I mean? Just looking back on my journey, and what built my belief really quickly was I had a lot of, exposure in very early on to the business side of it. So, so that's really, really great advice. So,
and it's not making it weird, it was not It's not a weird business. It's just like simple, and involve them in the culture, and you can't help but build your belief in all areas.
Totally agree. Now, I was going to ask you this, but you've probably, if you've answered it, you've answered it. But I wanted to ask you, why do you think you find it so easy to create consultants and other people find it so difficult?
Well, here she comes. Here she comes, Coach MacAllan. Okay. Number one reason is that you guys aren't rolling enough. The numbers are there. 20% of people will get to consultant, and you'll keep around 5 to 10% of those people. So I did the numbers, I've enrolled over 300 people, and about 20% of them got to consultant, and I now have around 10% that sit at consultant, about actively consultant. So it's a numbers game, right? So over 3.5 years, I've enrolled around 350 people, okay? So that's number one. Number two is that people are waiting for leaders to go first. Now, when I started Isogenics, like you said, Loz, I was giving you business training, not knowing what the F I was doing, right? But I was showing up anyway. You saw my face everywhere. I was in contact with you. I was up on a Facebook group. I was taking you to events. I was texting you. And so they had me in their face, not someone else, because you had the relationship with me. We built that relationship based on you thinking that I was a leader. Now, I didn't have Paul and Suzanne, doing all of this for me, like you're doing it all for your team. And so I really believe that people are finding it hard to build consultants because they're not showing up. And then they may show up for 1 week and then not the next week. Life may get in the way. And this business, success is not convenient at all. Like I tell you, I have been in this office since 9 a.m. this morning, and I am still here. And I blocked out an hour of my diary to run cleanse calls for new cleansers and business questions for people that wanted to ask. Now, 1 hour of my time, and yet not one person showed up. And I have a team of 18,000. So, it's just a perfect example of how are you going to learn this business. If you're not up on, you just tag your cleansers in the call, but you're not actually physically there, how are you going to build their belief?
Yeah, totally agree.
How are they going to want to believe in you? They're not. You need to show up, and you need to show up. And the reason perhaps you're not building consultants is because you're not got the leader hat on. Doesn't matter how many friggin' trophies you have to dust every week or how many stars you have attached to your name. This is all about you, and the person that you have introduced to this business knows, likes, and trusts you. It's up to you to coach them. It's up to you to show up every single day. Be there every single day. And so, it's up to you to set the initiative. So, every week be setting them goals, and how are you going to help achieve those goals by those initiatives? So, you want them to run a launch party. I check in. Are you running them? You want them to get on cleansing calls. Check in. Are you on them? You want a 3-way call with Lauren Petrovic. Check in. Are you supporting her? You know what I mean? Like, it's all about showing up. And, my first launch parties, I had pen and paper. I was a mess. I was an absolute mess. But I got to manager, not even knowing how I got there. But I just did the do. I knew I needed to access other people's networks. I knew I needed to get them paid. And so, now it is easier. But I believe that I convert everybody because I show up. They see my face everywhere. I'm always there.
Thanks for that ass whooping. We like it. No, but I do remember back, and when I said I went to the business training, it was Heidi with her notes, like a piece of paper, standing there. She'd just been to Vegas, and she was just recounting what she saw at Vegas, and that was it. So you're right, people, we didn't have any of this back then. We didn't have Zoom calls. There's so much information now, and so much, so much training, probably too much, I think. But yeah, just show up as a leader. I like it. It's brilliant. So now I have a few questions from how are we looking for time first? Yep, we're good. A few questions from the team, which I think we may have gotten through a few. So the objections, we went through that, didn't we? Getting people across the line. I'm comfortable with presenting, sharing, but then I get to the end and I'm stuck. So for me, it's closing. I'm comfortable. This is Manuela. For me, it's closing. I'm comfortable with presenting and sharing, but then I get to the end and I'm stuck. So closing. I don't know how you would answer.
In terms of presenting U+2 and then nothing happens, or?
Maybe. Manuela, are you on the line? Because if she is, she can unmute and ask.
I am.
Oh, good.
I am, guys. Hi, Heidi.
Yeah, did you mean that? So you're sort of talking about U+2 and then it's just like this awkward silence?
Yeah, exactly. I get to the end, everybody's interested, they're happy, etc. And then I'm like, okay, now I need something to tell them. Like, what am I?
Okay, all right.
I'm embarrassed and I'm like,
phrase for you.
You what?
The magic phrase.
Okay.
What we do next.
Yeah, good one.
Okay, so the awkward side, you told them U+2, they have an object, or you've covered the objections, there's no more objections. We go, okay, what we do next. So what we do next is that we have a launch party. And what that means is that we need to invite people. So you're always using we. It becomes a culture within your team. So what we do next, they feel like this is just normal. This is how we build this business. Don't make it icky. You can have a launch party. You can do three-way calls. It's what we do next. And that's initiative is up to you. Like if that person's in New Zealand, then perhaps you're going to do what we do next is a webinar. Or if that person lives down the street, what we do next is invite them over to my place for a cup of tea, or what we do next. So when it's that awkward silence, you need to flick your people into action. It's all about loving them, right? But we need to love them so that they build a business. So what we do next. So just use that phrase. I think that will help you. So think, okay, I need her to do a friggin' launch party. Before you open your mouth, just go, what we do next is we're going to do a launch party. How's next Wednesday suit? Okay, so we obviously need some people there. So what we need to do is we need to develop a list of 10 people. Tonight, can you get that list of 10 people to me? And then you get that list of 10 people. It's like, okay, what we do next is that we're going to invite these people. And how we're going to do it is, and who are your top 3 people you want there? Because what we do next is we're going to get them on the phone and call them together. So what we do next, just use that phrase. It just leads on. It gives you posture. It gives them comfort, you know, that you know what you're doing. Because you all do know what you're doing. All of you.
Mm.
Yeah? Help?
Yeah. Yes, yeah, definitely. Thanks, Heidi.
Awesome.
That's
awesome.
okay.
I love that. I love that. I'll be using that one. So we've just had a question. I've got a few questions here, but one's just come up from Lisa saying, I'd love to start doing some business training, but what would you recommend we cover as biz training for a fresh team just starting out? So I could tell you that. I basically started with, and this is when I think my business started to take off. It was when I thought I've got to be the leader. I've got to step up. And so I had every Friday, I started with 2 people. So it was me and 2 people. And I did the U+2, and I made everyone stand up and do U+2, then +2 to get practice. And then I would start the meeting with, 30-second stories. So we'd go around the table. So each time we got together, it was like building a community, but also doing a basic step and a basic skill. And then you can enhance from there. But what would you say, Heidi, that you would train on for brand?
Look, at the moment, I'm just working on an InTouch training, so that will be duplicated with all the upcoming leaders that will just hopefully duplicate into the team, which is a day training. I mean, I think we do too much training. We're overtrained. We're like the most overtrained people, and all you need to do is have a conversation with someone. Like, really, if you can't do that by now, you learned that in kindergarten. You learned how to make a friend in kindergarten, right? So, I think people are just looking for that magic way, that thing that's going to give them that belief. But the only thing that is going to build your business is practice. And getting down, I think I've almost done people a disservice by having all of this technology and doing all of this training and sharing all of my knowledge, because really if we just told you what we do next is we just stuff up until we get it right, then you probably would have all done it by now, you know. Well, what we do next is we make a big goose of ourselves and you go and do it, you know. So look, I don't think there is any necessary planned training. I mean, there's isogenicsbusiness.com. There's so many ISO unis, UIAs. I think, like Law said, is just develop a little team culture.
I think it's more about the culture than what you actually train on. It's like you're showing them that you're leading and you're like, you know, and I'm going to get to where I'm going and I want you to come with me. So let's do it together and let's make it fun even, you know, and create your little posse and keep going. So less about the actual content, but just showing up as a leader, you know, I think is important. When you agree?
Yeah, but I mean, there's plenty of things you can tag your team into, but as long as you're sitting on here as well, you know, like leverage laws and Kerry and whatnot, but you need to be sitting on here too.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so we've got another question from Adam Grimley, and he's saying, in Heidi's experience, any tips to identifying their why faster?
I think that just comes from like relationship building. I mean, a lot of people come to you and say, I want to do isogenics because I want to lose weight. But perhaps you haven't built the relationship to ask, why have you got so overweight, and what would that mean if you were 10 kilos less, you know? So I think some people are going to tell you. They're those people that are going to tell you straight away what's on their mind, and other people like me where you're going to be very guarded and you won't know what's going on in my head until we're very, very close. So I don't know that I really have a trick to that, just about building a relationship, making sure that people don't feel like they're just a transaction, that they're actually a customer. There's so many times, like, you know, I'm giving away Ice Delights and greens and things for their cleanse days. I'm not expecting any money for it. Just, you know, sending the cookbook and a couple extra bars up to a girl, or down to a girl today. Just, you know, just sending a little card, just doing a little things that, you know, they're not expecting, I think, and just making them feel like they are a friend, and just further building on that. And then when they let their guard down, when they believe that you're someone that they will trust, then you'll be able to delve deeper into what's going on, why they've sat the weight on, what it would mean to them to get it off.
Cool. Like it. Thank you. So this is a question from Kerry, and she said it would be good to hear how you offer to help your cleanser talk to two others, as they are new and they don't know much. So 3 ways, which I think you've covered earlier. But what language do you use around helping them invite their friends onto a 3-way call?
Yeah. I don't generally just get them to invite onto a 3-way call. I try and get them sent a tool first. So, you know, go back to your friend, tell them how excited you are that you've just ordered your 30-day, you know, you've ordered this cleanse. A great idea to add them to the group, see what sort of results Isogenics is producing, see what support is available. And then in a couple of days, go back to them and ask them, you know, if they'd be open to hearing some more information about it. And if they say yes, to say, great, because I've got Heidi, I'm going to add her into the call now. Or we got Heidi, you know, she's signed me up. She's, you know, whoever you're going to do that 3-way with, build them up a little bit. But not too much that you're going to scare the person. And just say, look, they're going to tell you a whole lot more about Isogenics. Or, you know, oh, great, because Heidi's holding an information, you know, a launch party or information night on Wednesday. Can you come with me just to support me? You know, I'm pretty nervous about turning up. Or so it kind of depends on who they're talking to. So again, I'm saying, like, who are your friends? What are they like? You know, are they likely to just try something new, or are they a bit more reserved and skeptical? So it may, again, not be the same process for everybody. And sometimes 3-way message threads work better first. So they're just in a message thread with me, and, you know, I might be telling them a little bit about my story, and then use me to go, hey, can we take this offline? Or hey, it's real. I'm getting RSI from all this typing. I can tell that you're really excited. To best answer your questions, can we just jump on the phone?
Awesome, thank you. And we've got one more question here from Jill. She's saying, talking about biz straight up scares a lot, so using language such as rebate is crucial. People can easily get to consultant due to the rebate. The next step is what I'm wondering about. So how do I talk to them about remaining active on 100 BV, as this goes towards the biz side that most people have said they're not interested in? I hope this makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, but I don't necessarily agree that we need to keep everybody on 100 BV if they've been quite upfront and honest that they don't want to build a business, and we've given them that education about, you know, if they just had a couple of, you can probably see behind my door today, I was just drawing it out for somebody today who came to pick up those Ice and Delights for her cleanse day, and I was sort of saying, yeah, you need to stay active on 100 BV, but if I had, you know, if she had like, I think I said 10 people on that inside leg, she would make about 3 cycles a week. So I was kind of showing her why that would be significant for her. So if you've done all of that education and they're still really not interested but they've got to consultant, all you can do is support their people under them, make sure that they know about the rebate, that they know about the business. I mean, there's lots of people I work with that aren't my personally enrolled. I mean, Lauren, you're probably exactly the same. We work probably deeper than anybody. But, you know, if they're just ordering that 1 bottle of Ionics and that's what they're happy with, then I think that that's a brilliant person in your business, you know. And I've done this, you've probably heard me say it before, 1 bottle of Ionics with a team of 800 people, which can grow very easily. If you're, you know, especially if you've got a team leg, is that, you know, you're going to see a residual income of around $1,600 a month. And they're all non-qualifying. They're all got about 27 BB running through, but who cares? So I think, again, just treating people like their customers and treating them with good customer service and valuing their 1 bottle of Ionics every month and supporting them on that, I don't actually see a problem with that. I don't know if I misinterpreted the question, Jill.
I don't know if she's on. You can unmute, Jill, if you want. I thought that was a great answer to that question. I don't know if she's on, but yeah, brilliant. I've just picked up heaps of nuggets there. Is there anyone else with any questions before I move on to the next step? I think we've definitely covered most of it. Thank you, Heidi. Bloody brilliant.
So if I just add to that, if I had my team, which is about 18,000 people,
yep,
if all of you and the 18,000 just stayed on 1 bottle of Ionics, I would see a residual income of $32,000 a week.
Unreal. Amazing. Yeah.
So don't ever discount those people. And I wouldn't have got to 18,000, of course, without the people getting to consultant and accessing their other networks. So don't just sit there and say, well, if I just enroll everyone on a bottle of Ionics, I'm going to earn $30,000 a week. Like, that's not the case. But I'm just saying, don't discount those people. Don't get frustrated with those people that are just ordering bits and pieces, because they're staying in your business. So make them feel just as valued as someone that is doing launch parties and are running initiatives for their team. I mean, every single person that comes into your business, you should be grateful for.
Yeah. But you've also done the work where they know and they're aware of, you know, the business side, but then they've chosen not to. So then that's totally okay.
And some people just take a little while to switch on as well. Like, this girl here, I mean, she doesn't even have an account with me, and she keeps buying dribs and drabs and things. But because I've been nice to her and I've given her little extras, and she's getting it now. She said, like, I had a bad taste in my mouth about the business. She'd actually been referred by someone else a long time ago up in Queensland. And she went inactive because the business kind of scared her. So, she's not got an account with me yet, but I'm telling you, by next Wednesday, she's a consultant. You just wait.
Love it. That's awesome. So if there's no more questions, that leads me on to the Map to Crystal Executive. which you can all see here. I hope you all know what this is. So Heidi, if you just give us a little bit of a rundown, you know, what is this and how do you use it and why is this important?
Okay, well, a map to executive is looking at basically your compensation tree and your left and your right sales team and putting names in there that you're going to get to consultants. So, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily give somebody that until they're sort of at manager, maybe halfway to director. Personally, I think a lot of times you think people are going to be a consultant and they're not. They never are, or they get there and they're just like your worst nightmares. And then these other people that just jump into your life, fall from the sky, if you like, and then they're little go-getters. So to me, as I said at the beginning, every single person that I bring into Isogenics or enroll in Isogenics, my goal is to get them to consultant. So I would have every single name down on that list. But I think it's more important, and they say, look, you know, you put their name down, the universe hears you, it's a visualization, and I agree with all of that to a certain extent, but it's just like putting a vision board up and then not doing anything towards that vision. And it's the same with the map to executive. You can put those names down there and you can light candles and crystals around it and do kumbaya, but if you don't have those initiatives, like I would rather see that map to executive. You know, you've got Mary Sue and she's got her husband, so write her husband under it. How are you going to get that second person? You know, what are these week's goals? Okay, we need to do a launch party. Get her a list of 10. Like have it more as a checklist or, you know, so it's a great tool, Loz, but it's not one that I overly use, to be honest. I have a goal of getting absolutely every single person to consultant. And I know that they don't all stay there, like 10% of mine are still active, but, you know,
for the new people, and I know certainly when I was new, I put this up on my bedroom wall and, you know, and I started filling it out with pencil because I'd have to rub people out, obviously. But I started filling it out and it just gave me the tracks to run on and just to see how I was, you know, how I was tracking. I mean, you're at a different stage now, but I think for
the second, I like giving it to them in the 5-sheet one. You know how it's got consultant and then it's got manager and then it's got director. So the executive one is something that I would probably introduce when they've got around 3 or 4 consultants, when they've got the hang of making consultants. Okay. I think there's a massive gap between manager and director, massive. There's a lot of learning that needs to be done between those 2 phases. There's a lot of stuff-ups that need to happen, a lot of lessons to be learnt. So I probably would introduce that map to executive around that period. Personally, that's just me though.
Yeah, no, it's great. And there's definitely more ways to, you know, more than one way to skin a cat, and everybody uses it differently, but it certainly is a good tool for everyone to go and have a look at, and it's in your back office. And if you can't find it there or an Isogenics business, just Google it, map to executive, and you'll find it. It'll pop up. And okay, so one last thing before we let you go. What about the board of directors? Why is that important? Do you use that much? Do you talk about that a little bit?
It wasn't something that was, as I said, like we had no training when I started. Like I just learnt from mistakes and I'm still making them every single day. But, you know, it wasn't a concept that was actually introduced to me. So I didn't build my business that way. Now when I think about it, I don't know, because my best business builders have come from just being an ordinary human with a massive desperation. And a lot of those people that you want to put on your board of directors are like, you know, celebrities or people that are already very successful in their business, and they're actually not seeing, they're always very flaky when it comes to actually putting the work in. This business is not easy. And so when people are already earning at multiple 6 figures, to get them to go out and do launch parties and know that they're not really going to get paid for it for a few years, I find very difficult and almost quite disheartening. So my board of directors is going out to find people that have a massive desire, have a massive why, attracting those mums that don't just want to necessarily stay home but want to be home. I've never really done the cold calling thing where I've just called someone up out of the blue. My whole business has been built on relationships with people and really connecting with people. Look, they have been strangers, absolutely. Like, Loz, you were a stranger before Isogenics. Gel was a stranger before Isogenics. These are the people who are on my board of directors, people that just are ordinary people that have a little bit of time and a massive desire. So I'm kind of not looking for a person. I'm looking for people that fit that criteria personally.
Attributes.
That's where the best business builders have come from me. I also would really discourage people, and I think you mentioned this at the beginning of the call, to just send tools out, or just send random messages about Isogenics. I really would discourage that kind of behaviour. As I said, people are going to buy from you that know, like, and trust you. And I have people, sending me, not from our team, but sending me text messages from the Isogenics community saying, "Oh, an FV5 just opened up down the street. How do I talk to that person?" And I just think, oh my God. Like, for a start, sign up a membership and go there, start building that relationship. That person may not even want Isogenics, or may have their brother or sister already doing Isogenics. So to get a call or to get pounced on might put a bad taste in their mouth about Isogenics. So I think it's just my board of directors is finding a person that fits the criteria, which is someone that's willing, someone that has a massive desire, someone that realizes that this is a 2 to 3 to 5 year plan, someone that is showing up, those sorts of quality. I'm looking for more qualities than an actual person or persona.
Cool. Yeah. Me too. I think for me, you're right. When I first did my board of directors, it was like entrepreneurial people that I thought was going to bust out my business. And actually I brought on some of those people, believe it or not, and they absolutely failed, like, miserably, completely miserably. And I'm like, what? You're on my board of directors. So I'm pretty much the same, but mine's more of like, what culture do I want? Who are the people? Same thing, the attributes and the type of person that you want to be working with every single day. Because they become your best friends. You end up traveling with them, go overseas with them. So, yeah. But it's just another good tool, I guess, in the toolkit.
Yeah. And I think just have, take the focus off yourself. Like, like you said, I had these people that were going to exploit my business. It's like, these people, you have to know how you're going to help them exploit their business. The whole focus needs to flip.
Yeah.
I think everyone is looking for that perfect business builder. But I can tell you, Loz, the red wine drinking mum in debt was not on my board of directors. Do you know what I mean? But far out, I'm glad she dropped from the sky.
Unassuming. I know. You just never know who it's going to be. You never know. Yeah. That's so cool. I really, really appreciate it. I know we all do on the call, you coming on and giving us your time. I know you've had the most hectic day ever. So giving us an hour, we really do appreciate it. So thank you so much. I'm forever grateful. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Back to Kerry now. Bye, Hides. Keza, you there?
Yes, I am. That was amazing. I wrote, how many pages did I write? I wrote 1, 2, 3 pages of notes. Heidi, there you go. I'm a prolific note taker, but, I write the notes not necessarily for myself. I write them because I want to teach other people. So from the moment I stepped into this business, I wanted to be a leader. And I think that's one thing that we can all kind of pick up from Heidi today, is that you've got to show up and you've got to be a leader now, whether you're one person or 20 people underneath you or 20,000 people. But my biggest takeaway from Heidi tonight was actually when she said, and it just hit me like a dagger in the chest, make the goal to make everyone a consultant. Why wouldn't we do that? Why wouldn't we do that? Every single person, if that's our goal and you hit your goal 50%, that's 50% of the people you enroll are going to become consultants. And I've enrolled over 100 and probably 120 people in 18 months. And I've probably made, I don't know the numbers, probably 20 consultants. So that would go exactly with your statistics, Heidi, I'd say. So it does make sense. It is a numbers thing, but to have that goal and just start thinking, that is my goal from the outset, it's going to create the language, it's going to create the posture, it's going to create the belief, and it's just going to come across in the way we speak to people. So I love that. That was awesome. I'm going to put that goal in front of me tomorrow, and I'm going to be looking at every single bloody day. So just going forth with the tasks that we want to set for this week for everyone, we did have the task to print out the map to executive and fill that in, but I've got a better idea. Instead of filling it in with names, I want us to fill it in with 10 attributes, 10 values of the type of people, and Heidi mentioned a lot of those just now, and I've written a few of those down, and they were things like willingness, massive desire, willingness to show up, realizes that this is a 2, 3, 5 year business plan, all those sorts of things that you believe that you want in a person to be part of your team. So think about 10 different attributes and let's fill them in the map to executive. And we're also going to do the board of directors, but if you can think of any people that fill that bill, that actually have those attributes right now, then put them on your board of directors. And again, for those people who are not sure, that is a pretty form that's in our back office in isogenicsbusiness.com. It looks like a board table with seats around it, and you can just pretty much print that out and just have it with your gear. And if you find someone, or if you think of somebody that might be on your board of directors, then slot their name in there if they have those values that you would have filled out in the Crystal Executive Map. So there are two tasks. Again, 3 + 3 + 3 every day. That's what we're aiming for. And let's maybe set yourself a goal for this week in terms of consultants. So if you know you've got a couple of enrollments that are close and ready to go, make the goal to actually create consultants out of these people that you're going to be talking to this week and enrolling. And that will just give you the posture that you just want to help them get their products paid for. And if you need to, re-listen to the recording and write down the language that Heidi used and write it down on a piece of paper or type it up and have it as a script next to your phone so you can actually look at it and talk to, if you're on the phone, or read it before you go and visit them if you're having a coffee with them, so you can actually remember it. And then the more and more we do it, as we said, repetition is the mother of skill. The more and more we do it, it'll just become natural for us. The last thing we want to do is talk about who is the winner for this week's prize. And the winner is, drum roll, Rebecca Burrell. Is Rebecca on the call tonight? I think she is.
Yeah, she is. Woo!
Can you unmute yourself, Beck? Yeah, the winner. Lozzie, what is Beck going to win? What is Beck going to win this week?
That's a good question. I've got, it's up to you. Come over to my store. You can have ISA Pro, you can have whatever you want. We'll talk later, but you're definitely getting a prize. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'll have to pop over.
Yay. And the reason for that, Rebecca, is because all your tasks were completed, and you also, we loved your comment about you had great success this week in getting your cleansers interested in getting their products paid for. So you've got them interested, so now it's time to seal the deal. And after tonight's call, I don't think you'll have any problem whatsoever. So yay for Rebecca!
Yay.
Thank you.
Can we do a photo too, and I'll just quickly do something and I'll take a picture? Everyone? 1, 2, 3. Woo! Smile. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. So that's it for tonight, everyone. Thank you so much. Next week's all going to be about 3-way calls. So if you want to know how to get on the 3-way calls, we're going to have a 3-way call specialist, Sarah Maxwell. I haven't told her yet. Hopefully she can come on the call with us. But she is amazing. She does hundreds of 3-way calls for her team every single day, and she's so good at them. So she's going to tell us all about why she's so good and what she does. So come on next week and we'll learn more. Yay!
I'll unmute everyone. Thanks,
See you,
Heidi.
everyone.
Thanks,
you.
Kira. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Daddy.
Congrats, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.